Today we're wearing hats.
Alright guys, as promised, this week we'll be taking a look at Epic Games and People Can Fly's latest installment to the Gears of War franchise, Judgement.
That's right, and for those of you who follow us, you'll know that Gears of War is one of our favourite series, if not Dan's favourite series of all time, so the prospect of a new one, especially a prequel, was quite exciting.
There's been a few notable changes from previous installments, some of which you may find a tad surprising, so let's take a look and see if at its guts, Judgement is still a Gears of War game.
As we mentioned, Judgement is a prequel to Gears of War 1, and is set immediately after the aftermath of E-Day. The story focuses on Kilo Squad, under the command of Lieutenant Damon Baird, yep, the smart-ass blonde from the other three, alongside him his fan-favourite Augustus Coltrane, woo! Although he's a tad more subdued than the previous installments, woo! And two new characters, Sophia Hendrick, an Onyx Guard cadet who was assigned to Kilo Squad to keep an eye on the new character, Garen Paddock. Paddock is a former URI major and is a COG prisoner of war.
For those of you who haven't read the books or the graphic novels, or maybe just aren't aware, before E-Day the COG were at war with the UIR. That was the Pendulum Wars, which get mentioned quite a lot in the series. Paddock is from Groznyj, part of the UIR, and when the Pendulum Wars ended, Groznyj refused to surrender and technically was still at war with the COG when the Locust turned up, hence why he's a POW. But before the game begins, Paddock has signed up with the COG, A, to get out of prison, and B, because the Locust trashed Groznyj in the first few days after E-Day, so he's after revenge.
Kilo Squad is accused of treason and is put on trial by a COG Colonel Ezra Loomis, following the Battle of Halvor Bay. The game begins as a flashback as Kilo Squad give their own accounts of what happened before the trial, and ends at the present day as the battle comes to a close. Uniquely for a Gears game, the player gets to control each of the members of Kilo Squad throughout the campaign, each giving their own version of the events. The switch-up keeps the story fresh, and it also means that each character gets their own equal airtime.
Scattered throughout the campaign are declassified missions. These are marked by glowing crimson omens. Declassified missions change the way each level is presented, either by changing the environment to reduce visibility, adding tougher enemies to the spawn roster, or limiting the types of weapons that you can use. These missions are entirely optional, but do give you additional XP if you manage to complete them. Some of them dramatically switch up the difficulty, making some sections of the campaign a tough challenge even on lower difficulty levels. Personally, I was quite impressed with the variety of missions on offer. Another nice touch is the random spawn system. Bar one or two scripted moments, different enemies spawn every time you play through or reload a checkpoint if you die, meaning that one time you might fight boomers in one section, die, restart, and you may end up fighting Theron Guard instead. Both the declassified missions and the random spawn combined guarantee the gameplay never gets dull.
Of course, with every new Gears game we get new enemies and weapons, and Judgement is no exception. The two new weapons is a UIR Marska and Bushka, a medium-range sniper rifle and a grenade launcher respectively. Both are a welcome addition to the game, and for the Locusts, well, they get the Breach Shot, a modified version of the Marska with no scope and bumped up damage, and they also get the Rager. Ragers are the only Locusts to carry the Breach Shot, and act basically as mini berserkers. Unless you blow them up or headshot them first. The bastards turn red, get bigger, and they grow spikes. They take a load more damage and deal a fuckton more in return, leading to some pretty hectic firefights, where there's more than one of the bastards going a bit apeshit. The new boss baddie, Khan, is somewhat of a letdown though. Unlike Ram or Scourge, he gets very little screen time, and despite being made to sound like he's the worst thing in the world, he's very rarely mentioned. And the final battle, well, it's a little bit anticlimactic. Yeah, he looks cool, but you can't help but think it should have been more expanded on.
In Judgement there have been some modifications to the weapon loadout. Now you're only able to carry two weapons and some grenades. Weapon switching is done with the Y key, and the grenades can be tossed with LB without a wind up first. You can still wind them up if you want to, but they won't stick to walls anymore, they'll only stick to people if you throw them at them, so you can't tag people up close. Or at least as far as I can tell anyway. I'm still not really sure how I feel about these changes. In single player it's not that much of a big deal, it just means that you've got no sidearm if you run out of ammo from your primary weapons. In multiplayer though, you can feel a tad more vulnerable when you only have ranged or up close to choose from, and it means you have to think about what to choose depending on what map you're on. Having said that though, every fucker just uses the Nat Asher anyway, so it actually hasn't made that much of a friggin' difference.
On the subject of multiplayer, well, it still feels like Gears. Free-for-all and Domination are two game types that we've wanted for a long time, and Overrun is an awesome new model which combines Beast Mode and Horde. As a consequence, neither Beast Mode or Horde exist in Judgement, and the game does feel somewhat empty without them. Horde mode is replaced with Survival, which is a short 10-round co-op version of Overrun, where players fight AI instead of other players, and, well, it's just not the same.
Gears of War Judgment is a great game, there's no two ways about it. It's still Gears after all, and it's hugely fun and entertaining, but the story lacks the emotional punch and brilliant writing that made Gears of War 3 so fucking awesome.
Yep.
In comparison to the rest of the series, it probably sits on the same shelf as Gears 2, being better in terms of gameplay and plot than Gears 1, but still overshadowed by the immensity that was Gears 3. Its multiplayer is still great, but it's again beaten by Gears 3 because of its lack of Horde and Beast modes. Overall though, Judgment is still awesome fun, and it's definitely worth buying whether you're a rookie to the series or a COG veteran.
Cheers for watching, guys. That was Gears of War Judgment. I hope you enjoyed it, and please feel free to check out our other stuff.
If you've got any comments on the video you've just seen, stick them in the section below. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter and subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
See ya!